It remains one of those issues that no matter how hard some people try to get away from it, it simply will not go away. It is Benghazi. And this week, Senator Lindsey Graham on the Sunday shows talked about a report on the Benghazi attack released last week that he said is, quote unquote, full of crap. Now, let's get to the book that talks about it. The book that Democrats and those still seeking to hide what really happened did not want to see, read, or even exist. 13 Hours told the insider's tale of what really happened during the attack on the American embassy in Libya that left Ambassadors Christopher Stevens and others dead. The words created quite a stir. Now imagine what Hollywood will do to the narrative. Mitchell Zuckoff, the author of 13 Hours, the inside account of what really happened in Benghazi, now talks about exactly what he believes happened.
Michael Bay has approached this as a great filmmaker, and he is an amazing action filmmaker. And fortunately, he's working from a script that is very true to the story. It's true to the integrity of the story. It's true to the facts of the story. And he understands that it doesn't do anybody any good, and it doesn't benefit either him or the viewers to fictionalize this. It's a great story and an important story already. His job, and I think he recognizes that, is to put it on the screen as it's written.
So you're confident that it's going to remain as close to the story as possible and leave, hopefully, a lot of the sensationalism out of it?
I'm very confident. The script has been written by a wonderful, remarkable writer named Chuck Hogan, and Chuck is a guy with great integrity. And what's on the page, and what's been discussed with the Bay Company, with Bay Films, is I think we're all very much in sync.
We're talking about a $30 to $40 million range on the budget. Is that accurate?
That is what I've heard as well. That, the least important person on a movie set is the author, and so they leave me out of the money talk.
Well, before we move on to a couple of serious objects here, seeing as we're talking about the movie, any idea yet of the names that we'll see involved in the movie? Have you heard any?
I've heard any, but they've asked me not to talk too much about it. But I think we're going to see some great A-list actors here.
Can we say Bruce Willis will not be in this film? Is that possible?
I can neither confirm nor deny.
Okay. Well, we're going to hold you to that one just in case he does show up. He or Mark Wahlberg, if either one of them show up here after the last Transformers movie. Let's get to a couple of serious things here. Cheryl Atkinson, who worked for CBS News at the time, she claims now that her former bosses purposely hid a clip of President Obama refusing to call the Benghazi attacks an act of terrorism in order to get him reelected. Your thoughts when you hear that?
I was disturbed when, I'll be honest, as a journalist, as a journalism professor, when I saw that unedited clip, I was disturbed by that, especially that it took so long to get it out. The semantics matter, and what we call things and how we characterize things. And as journalists, it's our job to be as transparent as possible, that no favor to either side. And so I found that very troubling.
Is there any doubt then in your mind that after seeing the clip that indeed the president and his administration were using this and making sure that it did not hurt his reelection?
Well, I think, frankly, that let's be candid about this. A president is a political position. And politics, of course, figure into many or most of the things that happen in Washington. And so I think it would be naive of us to think that they were not aware of the political ramifications of a terrorist attack on September 11th, a matter of just weeks before a presidential election.
Mitchell, who is the one person, if you can point to it, or maybe it just goes right to the president still because the buck stops there, that is still to this day, in your opinion, stopping the full, unfettered truth from getting out about Benghazi?
Well, rather than point the finger at one person, I'm going to take my optimist hat and put on my optimist hat. And I'm very excited about the fact that the House Select Committee on Benghazi is doing the work with unfettered access, according to Representative Gowdy, the chairman, that they are having a full and open and deep investigation that's ongoing right now. And I have great confidence that that committee is going to get some of the unanswered questions answered.
Once again, that's Mitchell Zuckoff. The book is called 13 Hours, the inside account of what really happened in Benghazi. Now, what really did happen in Benghazi, of course, you can read the book and find out exactly what Mitchell and his investigators have found. But let us also point out that, as I talked about here just before we got to the interview, that this week on one of the Sunday talk shows, it was actually on CNN's State of the Union, Lindsey Graham The senator from South Carolina said that this report that came out last week regarding the Benghazi attack was full of crap, using his own words, basically saying that the House Intelligence Committee is doing a lousy job policing their own. He says the report is inaccurate, and the House Intelligence Committee that released the report accepted a bunch of garbage. Now, let's also look at the other side of this. Some of the Republicans said, let's put this to bed. According to Senator Jeff Flake, the Arizona Republican, quote, "I thought for a long time that we ought to move beyond that." He made those comments on Meet the Press. I have this odd feeling it will not be going away anytime soon. Here at Thanksgiving, it is always time to give thanks for those moments, those family moments, but especially those moments that we remember throughout time. The American Moment covers one of those, as a matter of fact, a time when all America celebrated a game of hockey.
History calls it a miracle. The 1980 13th Winter Olympic Games were in full force in Lake Placid, New York. Months earlier, the Soviet troops had invaded Afghanistan, and President Jimmy Carter was threatening to boycott the Summer Olympic Games scheduled to be played in Moscow. But all U.S. Olympic hockey team coach Herb Brooks was thinking about was winning games. His team was the youngest hockey team to ever compete in the Olympics. In spite of their age and inexperience, only two teams stood between them and Olympic gold. The first was the mighty Soviets, whose team consisted of seasoned world-class players who just a year earlier had soundly defeated the National Hockey League's All-Star team. The last time the Soviets had played these Americans in an exhibition game, the Soviets dominated 10-3. Sports commentators openly remarked that the only thing that could keep the Soviets from winning the gold would be if the ice melted. But the Americans, led by their captain Mike Eruzione, had other ideas. As the game got underway, the Soviets quickly scored, and by the end of the second period, led 3-2. A little after 8 minutes into the third period, Mark Johnson's goal tied the game. And then with just 10 minutes left to play, Mike Eruzione fired a shot past his defender to give the Americans the lead. The last seconds of the game tell it all.
There, the puck is still loose. 11 seconds. You've got 10 seconds. The countdown going on right now. Morrow up to Silk. 5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Unbelievable.
For Newsmax TV, I'm Bill Curtis, and this is an American Moment.